what they don't tell you about diet. Diet is an incredibly important part of health. If our diet is poor, it can lead to becoming immunocompromised, which makes you vulnerable to a whole range of diseases. The World Health Organization even estimates that about 1/3 of all cancers are associated with our diet. We could say the classic phrase, "We are what we eat," and assume that there must be one ideal human diet that gets us the healthiest outcome possible. When we look at the scientific literature, what then is the ideal diet? Well, it's actually more complicated than that. It seems there really is no one universal ideal diet for humans. When one group of scientists tracked the glucose response to different foods in different people, they found that people responded really differently to different foods. In some, vegetables clearly demonstrated the greatest health benefits, and in some, ice cream, strangely, demonstrated the greatest health benefits. Our bodies respond to different foods in a really personalized manner. The only thing that has been reliably established in the literature is that having a variety of foods is important in a healthy diet. We spent most of our human history living as hunter-gatherers, where we'd live nomadically from one place to the next, always exposed to a variety of foods from a variety of places. Today, we have the problem that our food tends to be all the same and much less diverse. But beyond just generally having a diet filled with variety, our cravings are super important. They exist for a reason. It's our body telling us we could do with more of something. Those individuals from the study who benefited more greatly from ice cream than vegetables might have been craving that ice cream because they're deficient in a particular mineral found in it. Now, people often panic, asking, how can I allow myself to eat my cravings? I just eat all the junk food I could. Time and time again, though, experiments show that this is not the case. In the short term, letting the floodgates open and allowing yourself to eat whatever might well end up with you filling up on sweets and chocolate, but in the long term, that is not the case. We're human, and we're going to crave what our body needs, or essentially what is nutritious for us. When let loose, and after the initial period of excitement, we'll end up willfully picking healthy foods. People often particularly worry about letting children loose to eat what they want, but the studies repeatedly show that after some time, children also resort to picking healthy foods. When we don't allow ourselves to eat what we crave, we almost end up stuck in a worse place, where we feel bad about ourselves, and resultantly almost crave it more. The key thing we need is acceptance. If you look at the statistics of whether or not diets work, actually 90% of diets end up with people putting the weight back on after 6 months. Why? It's because many people's diets are strict and restrictive and come from a place of being unkind to themselves. The diet doesn't follow cravings, gets them stressed, and eventually just worse off mentally. It's much better to follow an expansive diet, going towards healthy things you want or crave, and filling up on those, than try to get rid of things in your diet. Mindset is really the key underlying factor in it all. It's your relationship with yourself that is the driving force behind success. Are you doing the diet because of restrictive and unkind reasons to yourself, or is it out of a place of gentle, kind, compassion, and care? Fundamentally, your relationship with food is important too. What often underlies poor eating habits is a poor relationship with food. Perhaps food is your way of soothing yourself during stressful periods, or perhaps you see food as a burden or chore. A good relationship with food looks like using it in a kind way for yourself, even in excitement about it. When we have a good relationship with ourselves and a good relationship with food, we have a much healthier diet experience. But when it comes to our diet, what matters physiologically? It matters not just what we eat, but how it is taken into the body and what happens to it after. One of the most important factors here is routine. Having regular routine meals and routine times you eat those meals can help your body know when food is coming. That is really important because it reduces uncertainty. Your body is going to be far less stressed, not having to worry when it's going to get its next supply of energy. If your body is stressed, it's not only going to want you to overeat, but it's more likely to retain food's energy into fat as a backup for when you don't have supply in the future. Equally, the particular timing of your meals is important. Depending on the time of day, your body is in a different phase of your cortisol cycle, and eating at the right times can really help you. Particularly, Ensuring you have food in the first hour after you wake up sets off your cortisol cycle in a very healthy way for the day. Then throughout the day, fasting for just a few hours between meals can sometimes help. That is because your body and its cortisol cycle needs downtime throughout the day. It can't constantly be working to digest food. Ensuring you have good breaks between meals allows you to rest, as well as building up your appetite again. What's particularly important to do is not to eat in the nighttime. The night is our most important natural fast, where our body can truly relax. Eating within a few hours of our bedtime has been shown to have far more of an effect on our weight gain than other periods of the day. Equally, there are also other contextual factors going on that can influence what happens with our diet. Our emotional and social factors are key. If we're feeling lonely or upset, we're more likely to indulgently eat, as we feel the stress of the isolation and sadness. In fact, social stimulation is not the only way our senses can influence our diet and health. Our senses are so powerful that even doing things like using heavier cutlery or different colored plates has been shown to impact our waistlines. It is really important that our senses are functioning well. Our senses are not only what tell us when we're hungry or full, but what helps us perceive foods. The healthier foods also tend to be those which are more sensory. Food is full of flavors and textures we like for a reason, to encourage us to eat it. Moreover, the more mindful we are when we eat, the more we slow down and pay attention to what we're eating, the less prone we are to binging. Though, one of the most interesting parts of our senses comes down to what happens in our bodies. It is increasingly becoming clear that things like hydrogenated fats, fat-free products, or sweeteners are all bad for our health. What these do are trick your body into expecting something nutritiously different from what you end up getting. You taste something sweet in your mouth when it's full of sweeteners, but when it gets to your gut, that calorific expectation doesn't turn up. Eating more natural products can be helpful when we're thinking about our sensory health, ones that we can digest in an expectant way. So clearly it's really a lot more complicated than just, we are what we eat. It's not just about eating a particular diet, but a variety of things, and especially what we crave, through a healthy relationship with ourselves and our food, experiencing food at the right times, and with the right factors behind them. Eating healthily is fundamentally all about a kind and personalized journey.